Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Knickin' It Weekly Show. I'm your host, Stephanie, a.k.a. Queen. And as always, we have a lot to talk about. I'm joined by S. God from Nick's Man Cave podcast. Second time on the show, I would say.
No, it's actually my first time on
This
here.
your first time? Or the other time must have been Queen's Court.
In the chat or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then, Ajay, the villain, Hollywood, on location, joining us. How you fellas doing?
We are good. I am good. And good to be back after a couple of weeks hiatus.
Good to have you back.
And
we had a popular conversation last week.
Yeah. You always do.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm feeling good, man. Talking Knicks is always a good thing. Talking Knicks, especially this time of year, man. We don't know what to expect. That's what makes it more interesting and exciting.
Yeah, we was talking before the show. I'm really looking forward to preseason. Like, just what can I glean about the offense? I'm not sure how much I'll be able to tell from rotations, right? Some coaches experiment. Some coaches right out the box come with their rotation and play it throughout preseason, right? Thibodeau was good for that. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to glean from lineups, the starting lineup per se, but offensively, what are the schemes like? I'm really, really interested in that. Yeah. All right. So let's get started. So today we're talking Malik Beasley and we're talking Deuce McBride. I'm really we was talking before we came on the show. The players the Knicks are rumored, I have to put it like rumored to be going after are players that are going to command minutes other than Shamet, right? Shamet, he's kind of used to being situational, having a role, not having a role. I think if you bring in Ben Simmons, I think if you bring in Brogdon, maybe Brogdon might be okay sitting on the bench. But definitely if you bring in a Malik Beasley, he's playing, right? So we'll talk about that, and then we'll also talk about what does that mean for Deuce, and maybe for me, I'm thinking Deuce would be affected. Maybe you guys have a different opinion and think it'll be somebody else that's affected. So we could talk about that as well. But let me just start with just what's going on with Malik Beasley as a backdrop for those who may not know. So he's no longer a target in this investigation, gambling investigation, but he's still a subject. And I had to look this up. Those who are into the law already know this difference. But a target is a person whom the prosecutor or the grand jury has substantial evidence linking him or her to the crime, and they're at risk of being indicted. So he's no longer a target, but he's still considered a subject. And basically that means his conduct or behavior is under investigation and he could still be charged. The NBA is also doing their own investigation as to whether or not he may have broken their league rules. And if they find that to be the case, there may be a suspension, right, for whichever team he ends up on. So that it's rumored that the Knicks, Cleveland, Minnesota, and Detroit are connected to him. Detroit can offer the most money, I think 7.2 or 7.3 million. The Knicks, Cleveland, Minnesota only have the minimum and the opportunity to play on a championship contending team. Maybe for the Knicks, an opportunity to to start, to try to, entice him. So that's the backdrop. I guess my first question is, if it's possible, are you in favor of signing him? Why or why not? S. God, we'll start with you.
Yeah, well, first of all, man, thank you guys for having me on the show, Queen, man. First time on here, man.
Appreciate
Salute
it.
to the channel, salute to the chat, salute to the panel, man. Yeah, man. For me, as for Malik Beasley, I'm good, man. He's a guy that we definitely need. We don't have no snipers on this team. We need snipers. We need guys that can, shoot that ball. Brunson is he's like a cold killer assassin. We need somebody else like that. Cat is good and all that stuff, but we need a guy that you can count on. Like I said, you saw when we played against the Pistons in a playoff. You saw what that dude he did against us. He had ice cold veins. You know what I'm saying, in his veins and stuff like that, knocking out 3-point shots with no problem, man. That's what we need. That's the type of guy that we need.
And knocking him down with volume. It's not like, he shot 41.6% from three, and we're not talking about on 2 shots a game, right? So he shot it with volume. He played all 82 games, and he averaged 16.3 points, 2.6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, almost a steal a game, 0.9 on shooting splits of 43, which is not, great for a guard, but from the 3-point line, 41.6%, and his free throw shooting was just 67.9. So we're talking about a 3-point specialist, here. And he's also not known to be a good defensive player, though he does have the tools, to play defense. Ajay, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, for basketball reason, that is definitely somebody you would want on your team. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a sniper, and we do need a sniper. We need somebody we could rely on to hit the 3-pointer when we need him. I mean, he is he's a very good shooter, and he's actually been improving the last few years. I don't know, because he's been focusing on that's just his role on the team, because he doesn't, like his minutes, his points per minutes and in his point percentage has all been improved in the past couple of seasons. I think it's because the coaches he played for has recognized that, okay, this is what he can do. Let's just focus. Let's put him in that position to hit that shot when we need it or when we need him. You know what I'm saying? So this is definitely somebody that would be beneficial to the team. I really hated him when the past seasons, because he's always playing against us. But he's definitely somebody, like, if he's on our team, I would appreciate him.
Okay.
So absolutely, yeah. This is like, we would definitely. It would be a huge. I don't want to say upgrade, but it would be a huge advantage for us to have him on this team.
Okay. Any concerns? Well, you know what? I'll save this. Of course, y'all know my condition. I'm gonna have to write it down, but I'm gonna save this question for the panel. Geoff, welcome, Geoff. Always good to have you.
Hey.
From the happily ever
Apologize for
Klafter.
my tardiness.
Hey, it's fine. It's fine. We're talking about Malik Beasley, and then that's going to kind of lead us into talking about Deuce. But I'm just starting off with just whether or not you would want him on the team, and why not.
Look, Malik Beasley's a good basketball player. If he's going to sign for the veterans minimum, it's kind of hard to say no to that. I'm not sure that his skill set is really the one that we need to plug into this particular roster. So from that standpoint, not sure it's the perfect fit. If I don't even know if that's the right word, but I'm not sure if it's at the perfect fit. But at the price, man, it's something you definitely got to look at, because you could bring in Beasley and then maybe move one of your other ancillary pieces to bring in the piece that fills, you know what I mean, that fills one of those other holes. So I think it would give you more flexibility if you did it. And Beasley's a really good 3-point shooter, and those, that is a skill that is highly coveted in the league. And again, it's kind of like with me, we're getting Jordan Clarkson on a minimum deal, and he's a far better than a minimum player. Like, Malik Beasley's no all-star, but he's certainly better than a vet min guy. And if you can get him for a vet min price, it's
Mhm.
hard to turn that down if that's even on the table. I'm not sure that it is, but if that's a reality, it's tough for me to sit here with my arms crossed and say no. I don't want Malik Beasley for the vet minimum. That to me that's kind of greed. I don't think you're going to get a lot better player than him for that amount of money. I just don't.
Can you say more about how he wouldn't fit, and if we were to sign him and move someone for another piece that we really need, what's that piece that you think we still need?
Well, I think the not fit part is more because of the players who are already here and my perceived weaknesses of the team, right? I think that some of the
Mhm.
things that we could use are a long athletic wing who can guard, or someone who has point guard skill and can guard the point of attack really well. Those are two areas where I think that the Knicks are weakest, if you will. I don't think we're weak there, but those are areas where I think we could upgrade uh, based on what we have. So that's what I really mean by, like, a shooter like Beasley fits anywhere, but as far as his skill set is concerned, I'm not sure that that's the skill set that this team is lacking the most in. Maybe it is, because I don't know what his above the break 3-point shooting numbers are, but I'm imagining that they're pretty good, and if they are, then that does add a different dimension, because most of our 3-point shooters are best in the corners, with the exception of Towns and Brunson. Really, you know what I mean? All those ancillary guys are kind of park you in the corner and do that, but and also an undersized guard, like they're like baseball cards. We just like collect them and we put them in the sheets, and then make sure they're pristine, and trot as many of them out there as you can. So I don't know what I think we're allergic to players who are 6'6" and above for some reason. I don't really understand that, but so that would be a preference, and that's what I'm saying about fit. But if you have Malik Beasley here, maybe you don't need some of those other pieces and parts. And I don't want to jump the gun on the rest of our conversation, but maybe it does allow us to do a couple other things that we without him wouldn't do.
Yeah. Any concerns? I mean, he at least last year. Well, historically, he's good from three. Last year, he shot 41.6% from three. I don't have the breakdown, Geoff, in terms of corner versus above the break. Maybe somebody can look that up really quick. But he's not known to be a good defender. And it's interesting to see if the Knicks were to sign him, would they start him and now have 3 weak defenders in that starting lineup? Do you need him off the bench with Clark? Well, I guess that Clarkson is more of a scorer. He's more, he's more of a shooter. That would be a lot of firepower coming off the bench. But any concern about his
Mhm.
defense? You can always use a shooter. You can't have enough. You can't have enough shooters. And to Escart's point, the Knicks don't really have a sniper. Like, the Knicks don't really have a high volume shooter where if the ball gets in their hand, you just feel confident. Like, you're surprised if it doesn't miss. The Knicks don't have that type of shooter. Any concerns about the defense? Ajay, we'll start with you, then Escart, then Geoff.
Well, Queen, no more concern than we would have with Jordan Clarkson, right? I mean, Jordan Clarkson is not known to be a great defender. So now the question is, do we have too many of those guys who are not good defenders? Not particularly him, because a case could be made that, okay, so if you have Malik Beasley, he's probably a better shooter at this point, or at least based on the last couple of seasons. He's probably a better shooter than Jordan Clarkson, and just as bad a defender. Okay, so do you say, what, if you have Malik Beasley, though, maybe you look at Jordan Clarkson, okay, he's not going to play as important a role as we thought he was going to play if we have this guy. But it's always a concern when you have guys who don't play good defense, right? Because now as a coach, you're just going to have to strategize a little more and do a lot of as much offense defense substitutions as possible as your timeout situation allows you to do, right? it's not a situation any coach want to be, but it's a situation that just about every coach find themselves in the NBA, right? So they have to figure out a way to work around that. He's not a great defender, but he's a pretty, very, very good shooter. So you're just going to have to, pick on any given night or any particular night what's important to you in his game that you need on that night at that moment in the game, right? So if you have a game where you need a defensive stop to win the game, you're not going to put Malik Beasley or Jordan Clarkson on the court. But if you need to pull a quick trigger, you're going to have one of those guys. So it's just the coach is going to have to do his job and figure it out, right? Because, and Geoff, it's not that we're allergic to those guys that are 6'7", 6'8". They just don't come around that often. You know what I'm saying? They're just not.
Yeah, I was just being silly.
No, I know, but you just don't walk around the corner and just grab one of them and say, "Come on, suit up." You know what I'm saying? So they just not, a lot of them. You know, so. Yeah. It's just that's just how the game is. Some players have a skill set, but then they lack in another. I mean, look at we got Brunson. Brunson, he's got a lot, but he's just missing a couple of inches, right, to get to be the guy that we would really love him to be. So it's just the team's gonna have to study it, figure it out, and the coach gonna have to do his job and put those guys in a situation where they could succeed.
And then I also wonder, before I get to you, Escott, if a player is not known for being a good defender, does that mean they can't play defense? Like, does that mean that in the right situation they can't pick it up if they have the tools to be? Like, I remember Booker not being known as a good defender, but when Monty Williams was there, his defense was much better. Steph Curry is not a good defender, but in the playoffs, his defense, gets better. So the guys may not be known for defense, but you wonder if they have the tools. Like, if you don't have the tools, you don't have like, if you don't have the lateral quickness, you don't have the lateral quickness. But I just wonder if they get on a team where it's demanded and of them, and they're held accountable, and they have the tools, can they get better? Escott, your any concerns about him? Not that he can't play defense, but not really known for being a defender.
Yeah, I don't have no reservations. If you look at that playoff, anybody who looked at that playoff saw Detroit played us the toughest on defense, as well as Indiana, and they were all undersized. Those guys played better defense than the Knicks. Those guys have better defensive players because they were held accountable by their coach, and they, what I'm saying? Just like the same thing, like I said, and that's one reason with Tom Thibodeau, he didn't hold players accountable on defense. He let Julius Randle do whatever the hell he wanted to do. He let Karl Anthony Towns do whatever he wants to do. Jalen Brunson do whatever he wants to do. And that's why they was poor defenders. And you can say that, but Malik Beasley and Detroit played good defense against the Knicks. Schroeder, all those guys played great defense. Nembhard, and all those guys are undersized. So the size really don't matter. It just matter about you, your defense, your heart, your determination. So all that stuff about size and stuff like that, I'm not worried about it. Now, if Mike Brown holds them accountable, that's how it's going to work. It all depends on the coach and the coaching staff and what they put into these players and instill in these players, because the Knicks defense was terrible from the perimeter. Josh Hart was terrible. Jalen Brunson, everybody know he's trash on defense. And Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. OG was good, but Mikal, he wasn't as the defensive player that everybody thought he was coming out of Phoenix. Nowhere near there. But part of that problem, like I said, is like they got to slide back to their natural position. OG at the 3 and Mikal at the 2. But as far as Beasley, I'm not worried about his defense.
Yeah. I will say about Mike Brown holding them accountable, like this is the NBA. This isn't college. He's a new coach. And I think him developing relationships is super important. So it depends on how he holds people accountable. Like if he's going to come in and grandstand, and if Cat misses a rotation, take him out and sit him on the bench, that may not go over well. I think it's a delicate situation when you're an NBA coach, where relationships are super important, and you really have to have the trust of the players first, and they have to really believe in you for you to then do something like that. And I'm not sure he's earned that yet with this team. We shall see. but yeah, it just depends on how he, how he goes about it. Geoff, your any concerns about whether he starts or comes off the bench, just not being known for being a good defender? Uh-oh. Okay. All right.
I thought he was
thought Geoff was
playing.
giving us that stare like, are you
There he
serious?
is. There
Oh, there
he
he
is.
is. Oh, did you hear the question, Geoff?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I'm having internet issues. I apologize.
Listen, I understand. Just your thoughts on him not being known as a defender. Is that a concern? The Knicks don't. Well, anyway, yeah. Any concern about him not being a good defender?
Well, you want to hear something interesting, at least to me, is that in his career, every season, I believe Malik Beasley has posted a positive defensive win share number, but his defensive box plus minus has been negative in every single season, which that doesn't necessarily jive. Like, how is
his defensive rating is not great either.
Yeah, and his defensive rating is not great. That's right. So I don't. But again, still he has positive defensive win shares. So there's some gray areas, some statistical noise in there that I don't know how to evaluate, and I haven't watched him enough to be able to speak definitively on it. But what I will say is this: the problem with Beasley on defense, even if he's solid at his position, which I believe he is, he provides zero defensive versatility, right? He's 6'3", and there's just limitations. We've seen that with Clark. We'll see that with Clarkson. We've seen that with JB. We've seen it with Deuce, who we consider a good defender. Like, when you're 6'3" and under, people can just shoot over the top of you. That's not meant as a critique. It's just there's a lot of tall people who can shoot in the NBA, and you just there's not any solution for that, really, and so he doesn't give you a lot of switchability and versatility, in my opinion. So I'm not sure that schematically, I think we're much more in a switch everything kind of a league where you have defenders, who are versatile, and when you have a lot of the same archetype, whether they're good defenders like Deuce or not good defenders like Brunson, it limits what you can do, especially if you're playing them on the floor together at the same time, right? And Clarkson's not very tall either. So, I don't have any concerns in a vacuum about him, but with the other guys on the team, and when you stack all of that on top of each other, yeah, it's a little bit concerning to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say one more thing as far as the defense. You gotta look at it. It's gonna be a different defense. Tom Thibodeau had that crazy drop. That's one of the worst defense I ever heard of. That's an excuse. That was garbage defense he played. You know what I'm saying? It's like a drop defense. I'm like, what is that? So Mike Brown might have a different defense that, these guys gonna, play a different defensive style and stuff like that. So that's what we have to wait and see what type of defense they implement to see how these guys react and play.
Yeah, I mean, but regardless of the scheme, you have to be able to, you have to execute it. Yes, Ajay.
If all you have is stale bread and moldy chicken, it's tough to make a good entree, regardless of what your culinary skill and knowledge base is. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when you have this many, and we have a challenged defensive center already in Cat, and then you're also adding in all of these undersized defenders, I think it's really tough to come up with a scheme that's going to be super effective.
That's going to hide all of them.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Really, it's not just the defense that Tom Thibodeau played, it's also the players that he had to play that defense. So maybe, and you can't really blame it all on Tom. The only thing I blame Tom Thibodeau for in terms of the defense we play is that, I feel like, so you saw some, that hasn't worked all season, right? But then somehow we never try to pivot away. We never try to figure something else out. Like a little zone defense, like a little, something else. It's just it didn't work, but we stuck with it, and that was really my only problem. But sometimes it's just the players that you have, You know, it's just the hand that you dealt. You just got to play that hand, man. You know, maybe Cat. That's, you know, a lot of time I think it was just Cat. You know, messing up, just drop coverage when he's not supposed to. You know, or maybe that's just all he can do. You know, and the coach staff is gonna have to figure out a way to, you know, come up with different scheme to even hide that a little bit or make up for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's also the players. It's not just the coach.
Yeah, the players have to buy in, and I think you're correct. There were times when they weren't in drop, but Cat was in drop, right? So you would see that because you would see OG's reaction to
Right.
like, you know, what are you doing? That's not, you know, that's not it. But we'll see. I'm interested to see, will he play more zone, you know, to try to hide Cat and Brunson. I've seen Cat move his feet. I've seen Cat, you know, step up to the line of the screen, but it's just not consistent enough. And, you know, to Freezy's point, shout out to Uncle Freezy Blanche Tears. How much consistent defense can you expect from someone who's carrying the load offensively in Brunson and Cat? So we shall see. I'm looking forward to that. For me, I think this team should lean into their offense. I don't think you bring Cat to this team to be a top 5 defense, right? I think when you traded for Cat, you were leaning into offense. I'm not saying that your defense, you're not going to win. We talked about this last week with a bottom 10 defense, but I don't think this is, in my opinion, I don't think this is a top 5 defense, top 8 defense. If it could get to top 10, I wouldn't be shocked. I would be a little surprised though. We shall see. We shall see. The other question I have about the Knicks connection to Beasley, and before that it was Simmons, is the Knicks seem to be let me get to this super chat first. Shout out to Bob. Appreciate the super chat. I feel no one trusts our young guys. Pacome, why? Go, New York, go. Anybody want to answer that?
Raw and unproven. Like, what has he done that says I can definitely rely on him and in a pressure situation? And I mean, we just haven't seen it yet. And I'm not saying that he can't do it, but I mean, he's young and he's raw. And I don't know, like, I think you've got to have more established, you know, dependable guys in your rotation. And if he, you know, if he showed to be that, you know, in practice and everything, I think he might have gotten more playing time. But I've seen him struggle in the G League, right? He hasn't always been, you know, fantastic there. So I just don't think I don't think he's ready for the NBA, but that doesn't mean that he'll never be ready for the NBA. I just think that he needs, you know, he needs to cook a little bit longer. That's all.
Yeah, I just think they ain't getting no. I mean, they wasn't going to play last year, you know, with Tibbs and the way the minutes was played and stuff like that. But yeah, they're gonna have to get some more minutes to get better and stuff like that. That's the only way you're gonna get better, by playing in the NBA. You can't get better by just sitting on the bench or even playing in the G League. You can play in G League to get more, you know, reps and things like that. But you got to play against, you know, NBA players to improve your game to get better. So we'll see. I mean, but we got enough guys, so that might be against them this year again, like with Mike Brown. So we'll see.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the Knicks have a lot of young players, and so it's going to be difficult for all of them to get minutes. And the Knicks are not in development mode. I mean, they're you know, we're trying to win a championship. I still think, and this kind of leads into my next question, the Knicks are pursuing players for that last spot on the roster that may command minutes, right? If you get Beasley, he's going to command minutes. If you sign Simmons, he's going to command minutes. Maybe Shamet won't. Maybe Brogdon won't. But Simmons and Beasley for sure will command minutes. You're bringing in guys to command minutes. You already got 9 players who going to play more than 20 plus minutes a game, right? You bring in a 10th guy, you're bringing in him to play 8 to 12 minutes. Because if you're bringing him to play more minutes than that, then, you know, obviously those minutes are going to have to come from someplace. So I guess my question is, do the Knicks need a 10th player? Can they just roll with the 9 and then use that 10th spot to maybe bring along a young guy for like 8 to 12, you know, minutes a game? And then also, if you bring in a guard like a Beasley, you think about how guard heavy this team is. What does that mean for Deuce? Because I don't think Clarkson's minutes is getting reduced. I don't think Yabusele's minutes is getting reduced. I don't think Hart's minutes. I mean, they're going to be reduced from last year already. But I mean, barring that, I mean, reduced again by bringing in a 10th guy that's commanding minutes. So I guess my question is, are you in favor of the Knicks even signing a player that commands minutes? Or do you feel like what we got now is good and that 10th spot can be bringing along, you know, a young guy, or use that 10th spot for injury protection, someone who's situational, who may not be in the rotation unless there's an injury? Geoff, what would you like to see done with that 10th spot?
I'm firmly in the camp of injury protection. Like, I think that's one of the reasons we're looking at the guys that we're looking at. Maybe, you know, and maybe, you know, winning a championship is going to take a sacrifice across the board. So some players are going to have to, you know, deal with a decreased minutes load. But we also had 3 or 4 guys who practically led the league in minutes last year, right? So, like, pushing 40. So, you know, in the case of it felt like in the case of Bridges, but you know, so I think you can bring his minutes down. I think you can bring Hart's minutes down, and you can carve out a few minutes, but not a ton, because I think, as you said, Clarkson, I think, is our backup point guard, and I think he's going to play with Brunson at least a little bit, and I think he's going to see at least 15 to 18 minutes, I would imagine, at a minimum.
Clarkson? Yeah. If Clarkson plays under 20 minutes, I would be shocked.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying, like, a bare bones minimum. Like it would be stunning to see him at that low of minutes. I mean, this is a guy who competed for 6th man of the year, you know, before. So, you know, he signed here to play. You know, and what's Deuce's role? Is he a nominal starter who gets 20 minutes a game? Is he, you know, is he situational? Does he get Obi Toppin treatment as far as his minutes are concerned? I don't know. I mean, we don't know how Mike Brown feels about him as a player, right? I mean, you know, so I think a lot of that stuff is up in the air because, you know, those are Mike Brown's decisions, and I think most coaches prefer to play 9 or 10 guys. Oklahoma City played a dozen, which is kind of rare, but I don't. I think the more that you have, the more difficult it becomes to juggle. But I definitely want someone who could come in a pinch with in case of injury, because Towns is hurt all the time. Brunson misses time. You know, OG has an injury history. You know, McCall is solid as a rock, knock on wood, and Josh Hart is usually pretty good too. And then we all know that Mitch, you know, the ambulance just follows him, you know, because they know they're going to get to pick him up eventually. But, you know, so yeah, I just want, give me an insurance policy.
Okay. Not somebody that's going to command minutes. I do want to say this. Like, we've talked a lot about with Mike Brown, Hart's minutes are going to go down. Mikal Bridges' minutes are going to go down. So there'll be extra minutes to go around for this imaginary 10th guy. But I tend to disagree, because I think Clarkson and Yabusele are going to command more minutes than whoever was the 7th and 8th guy last year. So those reduction in minutes from Mikal, from maybe OG, from maybe those are going to probably go to Clarkson and Yabusele, right? Because how many minutes did Precious get? How many? You know, they're going to go to those guys. So whoever that 10th guy is, I don't see how that 10th guy gets 20 minutes a game. Right? And if you're bringing in a Malik Beasley, he's going to command that. You know, if you're bringing in a Simmons, I don't think Simmons, I mean, there was reports that was the issue with Simmons, that he's not sure how much, you know, time he's going to get, you know, if he signs with, you know, with the Knicks. So whoever this 10th person is, I think if it's somebody that commands minutes, I think Deuce is going to be the odd person out in terms of minutes being decreased. And I'm just asking the question is, if you're not looking for injury protection, why are you looking to bring in somebody that's going to decrease Deuce's minutes? Is it that you're not sold on him? Is it a height thing? Is it you're not bought into the on-off numbers? Like why are you potentially bringing someone that could cut his minutes? I'm interested in what the chat has to say. That's like 5 questions in there, because I think I had a question even before that. So Escott, you could go whatever.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the minutes. I think the reason why they're doing that because we're gonna play a different style of pace. We're not gonna play that slow pace that Tibbs had. You're gonna play a faster pace, which means guys are gonna be, you know, need more rest and things like that. So you're gonna play more players, and injury is gonna be part of the game because they're gonna go from a slow pace to a faster pace. So you know, with the Knicks, even though they played a lot of minutes, but they were slower pace. But when now you playing up and down style, you're gonna get more guys gonna be injured sometimes and stuff like that. A lot of guys gonna play. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even worried about this season. I just want to see how it's gonna shake out. Because guess what? Like I said, we're gonna be going up and down the court. Guys are gonna be playing less minutes, so that means there's more minutes for other players. And hey, if you want to look at how Sacramento played when Mike Brown was the coach, you just got to go back and look at the offense that they ran and how many players that he played back then. So that's all you got to do. I mean, it was only like 3 years ago. And he played about 11 players, 10 players, you know. So it's gonna be the same thing. That's
what they play though, because I don't see any of the starters playing less than 35 minutes.
You talking about on the Knicks on this?
I don't. Okay, well, I shouldn't say that. If Mitch or Deuce or Hart starts, they probably won't play 35 minutes. But OG, Bridges, Cat, and Brunson, I don't see them playing less than 35 minutes a game.
I mean, they might, but they're not going to play that every single night. That's the whole thing. You're going to play lesser minutes and stuff like that, depending on how the game is. When you have more fresh bodies, look at how when we played against Indiana in the playoff, they had more fresh bodies. They kept coming at us. They wore us down. They guys wasn't playing 30, so they were playing 27 minutes, 28 minutes. You look at their numbers and stuff like that, but he played like 10, 11 guys, and it really didn't take away from their performance.
But there is a caliber. So those guys, in terms of talent level, were pretty much, other than Halliburton, on an equal, except for, you would say, Halliburton and Siakam. Am I missing? Am I missing?
Turner was invisible in that playoff. He was invisible though. He was invisible.
Right. So when you have players that are on the same level, talent wise, you can do that. But do you really want to bring OG and Nobi's numbers down to 32 minutes? So I don't know.
But that makes them fresher though. That makes them fresher. That's what you want, because if they playing a lot of minutes, sometimes they can't give it their all because they playing their gas.
35 minutes is not a lot of minutes for an NBA player. I'm not talking about 40 minutes and 38. 35 minutes is not a lot of minutes for an NBA player.
But majority of Knicks is playing 40-something minutes. They was playing 42 minutes.
Well, no. There was times with injuries when they were, but if you look at the average of the Knicks, nobody averaged 40 minutes. Nobody averaged 40 minutes a game for the Knicks. Nobody averaged 30. Like we throw that out there. That's the narrative, but nobody averaged that for the Knicks. But there were games with injuries where absolutely Josh Hart would play like the entire game for like two games in a row. That's legit. What I'm saying is the minutes will I don't see our starters playing less than 35. And quite frankly, I don't want them to play less than 35 because to me, the 35th minute of Jalen Brunson, even if he's a little tired, is still better than the 18th minute of Clarkson. Even though Clarkson is fresher, right? So it's important that you look at any team, the best players are playing 35 minutes or more. The best players are playing that. Now Cleveland did a 32-minute thing, and I'm not saying that, and they got injured anyway. Playing 30 guys, 32 minutes, they got injured anyway. You know what I mean? So your best players got to play. I'm not talking about 40, 42 minutes, but I'm not talking about 30 minutes either. So this other guy who's not as good can get 3 more minutes because Brunson is going to be a bit fresher. I mean, I do think there is a point, like there is a line where that makes sense. I just don't think less than 35 minutes, in my opinion, is. I just don't think you're going to get that return from a lesser player, even though they're fresher.
Yeah, but you have to understand too, though. I mean, if your bench is giving you good production this year, then the minutes gonna be less. So that's the main important thing, though, to get bench production from those guys, because we relied so much on our starters for majority of our points. That's what was killing us. So you can get good bench production. It's less minutes for the starters. That's good. That's what we want.
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's how much less.
Mm-hmm.
It's how much less, because it becomes a point where you're helping the other team. If Brunson is playing 32 minutes or 30 minutes and you got Clarkson in there, you're helping the other team, right? Because the team is better when Brunson is on the floor. I'm not talking about 38, 39 minutes, but there has to be a line. You can't just be running Brunson out there for 30 minutes, because whoever's in his stead is not as good as him. Just not, Anyway,
and at a certain point, mathematics takes over, right? So I agree with your premise, Queen. 35 minutes for those 4 guys, that adds up to 140 minutes. That means you only have 100 minutes left. And if you're playing a 10-man rotation, you're dividing that by 6, right? Because you've got your 5th starter plus 5 guys on the bench. And even if you're just playing 9, if you're distributing those minutes relatively evenly, that's only 20 minutes a game for everybody else. So the minutes crunch is a reality any way you cut it with the top heavy nature of our roster.
There is a drop, right? That's the point. Like Indiana's talent is more like this. The Knicks' talent is more like this. Like, oh, I should go this way. Like there is a drop off in the Knicks talent. Now, I don't think it's as big a drop off now with Clarkson and Yabusele in the fold, right? But it's still a drop off. And the Knicks are going to have to, Mike Brown is going to have to manage that. But just, Ajay, I'll move to you. What do you want the Knicks to do with that 10th spot? Kind of leave it open for a young guy, injury protection, or bring in somebody who's going to be in the rotation?
Okay, so I listened to what everybody's saying, right? Could it be that the Knicks are looking to fill that 10th spot with whoever is more talented than who they have right now on the roster? Okay, so maybe we're worried about minutes. Maybe they're worried about talent. Maybe they're worried about filling up the roster with somebody who's, let's say, better than Deuce or better than Huckporty or better than, what they could find that's more talented or more experienced, or they feel that could help them win a championship. Listen, Deuce is good, but like it's not like we don't have proof that Deuce could help win a championship, right? And I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he can. I don't know how the front office feels. Maybe they're not worried about minutes. Maybe they're worried about bringing in talent on the team that they feel that could fit in with the rest of the team to go as far as possible in the playoffs, possibly win a championship. They're worried about the minutes later. Juggling the minutes, maybe that's not a priority to them.
Yeah, basically just construct the best team possible and roll out the best players, roll out the best rotations. And if that means a certain player is playing less, so be it.
Certain players paying less, some certain player no longer on the roster or whatever it takes. I think in their mind, they're trying to see, okay, who could help this team? Who has a skill set? Who's got certain talent that could bring this team? We'll figure the minutes out. Let's bring some talent up in here, and then we'll figure the rest out. I think that's what the front office is thinking about. I don't think they're trying to leave the 10th spot open for injury. And think about it, injury protection. Who's best who could best fill the role of injury protection than a more talented player than another guy? Like, the more talent you have, the least you're going to be worried about injuries, because next man up is easy to accomplish when you have more talent on your team, as opposed to worried about young players. Try to build up young players. Let's see, you don't even know if they could play in the NBA. Bring guys can play in the NBA. Bring guys you can fill the shoes of whoever may get injured throughout the season. I feel that's what the front office is doing.
And that's the way you would go as well?
That's the way I would go. Bring talent. Whoever's out there.
Okay. So we got talent, we got injury protection. What did you say, Escott?
Me personally, I'll bring in a point guard, Malcolm Brogdon. We need a secondary strong ball handler. If you saw that playoff, the reason they was pressing Brunson and wearing them down is because we didn't have another sure ball handler. And that's why we was getting so many turnovers, because you can't trust Mikal Bridges. You can't trust Deuce McBride. You can't trust Josh Hart to bring the ball up and stuff. We need a secondary strong ball handler. I really wanted Tyus Jones, but he was out of our range. But Brogdon will be good, a steady, strong ball handler for that second unit to run the point, and also give Brunson a breather. And they can run on the court together. They're going to press. So I'll be more than happy with somebody like that, a secondary, strong ball handler.
I think there was only one article. I think it was, what's his name, who talked about, I haven't seen the Knicks connected with Brogdon a lot. Jake Fisher of the Stein Line, he talked about the Knicks being interested in Brogdon, but I haven't heard a lot about the Knicks and Brogdon. Have you, any of you?
Brogdon don't want to play.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot.
Yeah, I don't. He doesn't want to play here, so just leave it alone.
You don't want to play here?
Nah, you don't.
From a few years ago,
From a few years ago, he don't want to play. Just leave him alone.
Listen, I thought that was the Knicks' number one need coming into the offseason, quite frankly. I wonder if Clarkson falling in their lap changed the plans. Right? I don't think they came into the offseason thinking they would get Clarkson. So now you have Clarkson, who's a guard. I think that changed things for them. I'm with you. I would love for the Knicks to have a guard with size who can play with Brunson and behind Brunson, so that Brunson can spend some time off the ball, legitimately off the ball, not just somebody bringing it over half court and then giving it right back to him, but can actually run actions and run plays. That doesn't seem to be a priority for the Knicks. And again, I know we had Freezy on last week, and he's thinking that maybe the Knicks are dependent, the offense that they're going to run, they're comfortable with a Deuce and Clarkson backcourt, because it's not going to be about one person setting everybody up. Maybe there's going to be a lot of motion, and just having a floor general won't be that necessary. We shall see.
Queen, you got a couple of super chats.
Yeah. Let me get to those. Jason Benjamin, appreciate you always supporting. I keep banging the table for Simmons. He adds versatility to our lineups. He is perfect for a ball handler and defense role, especially for the price. Okay. Okay.
What price is that? Is he vet minimum?
The vet minimum.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It better be.
Yeah. 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 I think if you're bringing in somebody that commands minutes, to Jeff's point that he made earlier in the show, we might as well just have a trade and you know, and you know, it just doesn't make
Right.
sense to have you know, players sitting on the bench who have value. Jason Benjamin, appreciate you again. No to Brogdon, injury prone and washed at this point. I mean, I will say this about Michael Brogdon. He's 32 years old. He only
Mhm.
appeared in 24 games for the Wizards. And could he have played more? Was he injured? Is it that they, you know, he was traded there? They're developing their young guys. And you know what? We're not gonna, you know, we're gonna lean into to them and not give you, you know, and not give you minutes down the stretch. So I'm not sure if he was injured all of that time. But in the 24 games, he averaged 12.7 points, 3.8 rebounds, 4 assists, half a steal. But he did not shoot well. And he's not a poor shooter, but last year he did not shoot well. He shot 43.3% from the field, only 28.6% from three. And then, you know, he's a good free throw shooter. He shot 88%
Mhm.
from the free throw line. So is he washed, or did Washington, no pun intended, just decide that, you know, we're gonna run with our young guys and we're gonna sit them. Ajay, Jeff, thoughts on Brogdon? I mean, I haven't seen him in years, quite.
I think, yeah, I think he's done. I mean, I don't think, yeah, we could find better than Brogdon. If we're looking for that 10th man, you know, if Brogdon is it, man, just stay with what we have. You know,
We could find a 10th man, but in terms of a point guard, though, I'm not sure how many more is left on the market. But basically, you're saying forget the point guard spot, just roll with Deuce and Clarkson if we gotta go with Beasley. I mean,
Brogdon. Yeah.
Jeff?
I don't think Malcolm's going to be healthy. Like I love the idea of a healthy Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench. I think he'd be outstanding. I liked his game when he was younger, but I think that ship has long sailed, and I don't even know if Malcolm would want to come here. He does. I don't know that not everybody's cut out to play at MSG, and I'm not sure that he has the mental
If
fortitude.
he ain't cut out, then Simmons definitely ain't cut out.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that too.
Mhm.
That's a concern that I have with him also. I mean, not everybody can play in New York. I mean, if you're a weak-minded player or you can't shut out the criticism and the noise, this is not the place for you. I mean, that's one of the things I always admired about Carmelo Anthony. He never ducked the smoke when he was here. You know, he got criticized all the
Mhm.
time. He put his head down, he played, and he scored, and he did his thing, and he never ducked the smoke. But there's a lot of folks who get here and they crack under the pressure, you know, and they're not the same player that they were in other locations. Now they come here for a road trip, and they're going to show out and drop 40. But when you have to deal with it, 41 home games a year, 50 if there's playoffs, that's not always an easy thing to do.
Man, just Knicks content providers alone are enough to drive somebody crazy. Dope Soul Sports Talk, NBK, Lawrence Tears, the chat.
Yeah. It's gonna be hot this season. Let the Knicks lose 3 in a row coming out the gate. This is gonna be
Don't say that. Let's not even speak that into existence. Don't say that. Let's stay positive. Let's not. It's too hot outside to be talking about 3-game losing streaks to start the season.
To start the 3 games losing streak, they're gonna want Mike Brown. They're gonna want Mike Brown out of here, like real quick.
Well, his shortest stint is 5 games. So remember, he got fired in LA after a 1-4 start once upon a time. So wouldn't be the first time that it happened to him.
Yeah. Let's focus on Deuce a little bit in his role for next season. What's your expectations? And Escott, I'm gonna start with you because I'm interested. We've talked about this. We've talked about this a lot. You know, the Knicks were better when he was on the floor last year, despite rebounding, despite lack of size. You know, the Knicks were better when he was, on the floor. Are you in favor of starting Deuce? Do you see him as someone that comes off the bench? Do you feel like the Knicks need to, replace him with, a ball handling guard? Just your thoughts on Deuce and his role next season.
Yeah, on his role next season, I would rather Deuce still come off the bench because, like I said, Deuce really hasn't developed being a point guard since he's been here. Yeah, as a shooter, he's a good shooter and stuff like that. But we need him to run the team. He still can't run the team. You know what I'm saying? You can't trust him to run the team. That's the problem. And then especially in the playoffs, forget about it. It's like the lights are just too bright in the playoffs. That was a red flag. That's a huge disappointment to me with Deuce. Couldn't count on him. We need a ball handling pressure. Brunson being worn down and double team, and Deuce was like nowhere really to be found like that. And even when he did get the ball, he really wasn't breaking down defenses and doing anything. So like that's why they looking at other options or things like that. I mean, Tyler Kolek is still young, but if you can bring another ball handler on the team, that would be much better than Deuce. So I'm not really high on Deuce no more. I mean, I used to like Deuce, and when he first came, he was a pest, a defensive pest, but even his defense have cooled off. So just like, I mean, I ain't gonna say he regressed, you know what I'm saying, but it's like I just don't see him as that same type of player. So we can upgrade from Deuce. I'm good with that, but he has to run the point. If he can't run the point, then it's like he's just a combo guard, and we just don't need that. We need somebody that can run the point and help Brunson. We need ball handlers on this team. And he's only 6'3", like we always talking about in the chat. He's small, but he has to develop, work on his craft, work on his game. That's what you're in the league for. Work on your game. You're supposed to be a point guard. Be a point guard, and I don't see that. I don't even know nobody on this panel have no confidence in Deuce to run the team. If Brunson was to go down and Deuce was to run the team on a full-time basis, nah, I can't see that, man. I can't see that.
I mean, I don't really see him as a point guard. To your point, I see him more as a undersized shooting guard. Quite frankly, to your point, I do think his handle has gotten a little better. I've seen him bring the ball up against pressure some, and it was okay. But playoff pressure and regular season pressure are two different two different things.
We're trying to win a championship. We can't be it can't be a player whose ball handling got a little better. Like we can't, you can't show up in NBA finals like that, man. Your backup point guard is the guy whose handle got a little better. So he's all right.
Again, I don't really see him as as the point guard. I think in that second unit between him and Clarkson, they'll be bringing it up, and I guess initiating the offense. Yeah, Geoff.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I don't know. I kind of agree with AJ on this one. But Deuce is frustrating, man. What I didn't like about it, I'm going to agree with Escott. Like his point of attack defense in the Detroit series was atrocious. Like he was getting burnt like toast, and so like that we need him to be reliable in the things that he did do well. But I've always said he's an off guard or a small wing. He's never been a point guard. I'll never see him as a point guard. And if he's not knocking down shots, I can see not playing him. But he's kind of a conundrum because the plus minus numbers love him. So the data heads all say, that we're better with him in the lineup. And, so I kind of see both sides of it, but, Deuce is a $4 million a year player for a reason. He's not great. He's not the answer. He's kind of a guy that you have in, if he can fill in a pinch, and he can do some nice things as a player off the bench, especially when he's hitting shots and you have him guarding 94 feet. Those are things that he can do. But he's limited in his skill set, and he's got a very big wingspan, so he can guard up a little bit, but he's easy to shoot over because he's short. I mean, he's taller than I am, but he's NBA short, but so he's a very frustrating player, and I'm kind of curious to know if maybe, if we do go with a Malik Beasley, for instance, maybe that means that they're going to try and send him elsewhere to get, I don't know, more help on the wing or more help at the point guard spot, whatever the case may be, however they feel the best need to fill in the rest of the roster.
Yeah, I will say this, about Deuce. It's beneficial to have a player on your bench who can guard, who you can put in and say, you might not be able to stop this player, but I need you to put some pressure. And I don't know who we have. We got, and not only that, if he were to start, and I'm not saying he will, if he were to start, now you got Mikal Bridges back to guarding wings, where I think he's more comfortable, right? It's not going to be any different from Mikal Bridges this year, the way things stand. He's going to be guarding the point of attack. He's going to be the point of attack defender, maybe they switch everything, right? And that makes it easier, right? He doesn't have to navigate screens as much if they do that. But it doesn't hurt to have somebody who can defend and who can hit shots. Though, last year wasn't his most, it wasn't his worst shooting year. But it was a tick down a little bit. So what do you make of the on-off numbers? Because the more I hear about the Knicks looking at this player, looking at that player, I'm like, Deuce is going to be the one, in my opinion, that's going to lose out on minutes. Are they not putting a lot into that? Are they thinking that was with that particular team, with those particular schemes, and it may not play out the same with the schemes they're going to be running? Yeah. Any thoughts on that? The on-off numbers, do you think they were overrated or?
Yeah, I think it's just on a game-to-game basis. But like I said, the thing with Deuce is, I mean, what's going on in the offseason, it's up to him, man. He just got to come in and improve in the offseason, man. If he's seen this happen, it's like, hey, this is your spot. You gotta improve. I mean, come into camp and do what you got to do. I mean, they're giving him opportunities. He got to take advantage of these opportunities. That's what you're in the NBA for. You got to develop. You got to get better. And if he ain't getting better, he come back is he gonna come back as the same, then it's gonna be back in the same situation again. And then this time they're probably just gonna cut bait because this is a new coach that didn't bring him in.
Deuce Godfather came into the building.
Oh.
Deuce gonna shut this whole panel up this season.
I was just reading this, man. Luke Skywalker, I hope you're right.
Listen, I hope so, man. I hope so.
Yeah, I hope you're right too. Space Ghost. The only bad about losing Deuce is he's a fan favorite, especially among the youth who love him. Something I'm sure Dolan notices.
Not just the youth. We love him too. We ain't no youth.
But sure.
I want to be youth. Can we be youth? It's been a while since I've been youth. I'd be okay with that.
We like Deuce. I like Deuce.
Did you see that other super chat?
Let me get to that.
Yeah, there's a couple.
David G said Deuce was a major disappointment in the playoffs.
Agreed.
Jason Benjamin, on a championship team, I don't know if Deuce is a main cog in the rotation. He's an okay player with major limitations. Him and Hart can lose some minutes.
Don't tell that to Wiz. He's having a heart attack right now.
Wiz having a heart attack.
He about to pop up right now.
Yo, Wiz. Oh, that's Deuce Hive.
What?
Yeah, big time.
Not
That's my guy,
Hive.
though. I love Wiz.
He's with his Deuce's grandfather.
Yeah.
That's
Curtis D. Young, Mike Brown's scheme can work toward Deuce's favor. Yeah.
If Escott's right, and I think he is, and we're playing more up tempo, that certainly Curtis DeYoung has a really good point. That does play to his strength. I mean, and he does perform well there. So I think Escott and Curtis D are on the same page, and it's probably the right page if we're thinking about it honestly.
Yeah. So now Hart, yeah. Bob, I've been saying this for like since the season ended. Brunson is my favorite play on the team, but I think I'm gonna get a Josh Hart jersey just to show some love and some support. They all up on my guy, you know.
But what do you say is scapegoat? Like, we can't. This Queen like to say this is not the Pom Pom podcast. We'll tell you the positive, we tell you the negative, we tell you how we feel, we tell you like all angles, man. It's like we're not gonna come here and tell you how the Knicks are great and they're gonna go 82-0. That's just not what it is.
Right.
Exactly. And if that's what you're looking for, this is not the this is not the podcast for you. There's definitely going to be differences of opinion up here between us and the chat. Somebody on the panel may be higher on a player than the next. That's what it's about. It's not just coming up here and like AJ said, this is not the Pom Pom podcast. Like, so if you're looking, that's what you're looking for. This is the wrong spot for you. And if you come in here negative, you're gonna be banned, Mr. Jackson. So that's just that's just what it is. I think whoever the Knicks put in that starting lineup between Hart, Mitch, Deuce, they all gonna have limitations.
Queen, you killing me, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna be the starting lineup, man. Yabuseli's gonna be the starting lineup. You not listening to me. You go all the way around, Hart, Deuce, like Yabuseli gonna be the starting lineup, man. At some point in the season, he's gonna be in the starting five. Watch.
Only if there are injuries, AJ.
Well,
no, like watch.
Well, okay, all right. Let's add him to the limitations. Whoever that,
thank you.
Put in there. There's gonna be some, there's gonna be some limitations. I mean,
Yabuseli cut AJ a check. He said, "Yo, you tell him we'll be a starter. I'll pay."
Last season was Precious.
Pay you a couple racks and
remember last season I got that check from Precious. Precious ain't here no more. So yeah, I was selling.
Bob agrees with you. He said we can have Brunson, Bridges, OG, Yam, and Cat. I see that working. Okay, all right.
Listen. As long as OG and Mikal go back to the 2 and the 3, I'm good with that because that's what they need to be. Not at the 4 and the 3. They need to be at the 2 and the 3.
Well, you got to thank Brunson for that. Brunson can't defend the point of attack. That's why everybody has to move around. Right? He can't defend the opposing team's point guards.
So you want Cat at the 4 or Cat at the 5?
Oh, me?
I would want Cat at the 4, Mitch at the 5. Cat can't defend, man. He can't defend.
Perfectly reasonable take. I just wanted to see when you said you want to slide everybody down. That's
why. Yeah,
I thought you were.
Oh, there's Wiz. There's Wiz.
Is still,
see,
Bridges is still going to guard the point guards, even in that lineup, because Brunson is not.
Mm-hmm.
right? Brunson is not going to guard the point guard. So Bridges will still be on the point guards.
Depending on who the 3 is, Brunson might be guarding the 3 there.
Right? Because they look to hide him. So I don't think anything changes with Bridges next season. There go Wiz. This is not the promo. I need to leave the chat and go find it. Okay.
Where's his family? He ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere. He's Uncle Wiz. He ain't going nowhere.
Okay. Yeah. So whoever, I mean, Deuce will definitely help, in terms of spacing. And, he didn't shoot well last year, but he still had gravity, right? Teams still respected him. That created spacing. The rebounding is not going to be great, right? Cat is going to be the only one really rebounding in a lineup with Deuce starting. I think with Hart starting, you do have the shooting issues, but you do get the secondary playmaking. You do get that offense moving, and maybe Mike Brown can come up with schemes to work around that. Because if you look at all of the teams in the NBA, it's not a lot of teams that have 5 shooters. They usually have 1, some teams even 2 players in the lineup that aren't good shooters, right? I haven't looked at their offensive rating though, but I'm wondering if other teams can play 4-1, can the Knicks get better at that? And then also putting Mitch in the lineup, I do think that helps, with defense, but I think the offense does take a turn, in my opinion. But then again, that'll be a 4-1, and let's see, what we can do, with 4 out, 1 in. So it's gonna be interesting. I don't think Yabusele is gonna get that start, but we'll see.
If he does, Adj's never gonna let us hear the end of it. So.
Oh my goodness!
So the end of time is gonna be like, I told y'all.
I'm telling you.
It's like it was August 28th at 9:18 p.m. and I said.
And Aj said he doesn't. Even if we get Beasley, he doesn't think he would
I don't think so.
start.
I think he's coming off the bench.
He would really, if you're looking to play 5 out and open up that and create space, and he would definitely
Yeah, but then you giving so much on defense that he's not. Like you want somebody like that come off the bench and rack up on points, play against other teams' bench players where they're not playing stifling defense. I don't think he'd be starting.
I think Clarkson would find Beasley a lot for 3. Like I think that would be a deadly combination. Like
and vice versa too. Like Beasley would find him too.
Yeah. I think those two would work really well together off the bench. I think that has a lot of potential to be really good because Clarkson can maneuver his way into the paint, and he's a willing passer, and he would get him the ball. And look, it's not just that he's a 41% 3-point shooter last year. He shot 9 a game. Like that's high volume, 41% shooting. That's a lot different than a guy who shoots 48%, but he only takes 2. I mean, this guy has no fear, and he is a lethal weapon, and you have to account for him. We know the Knicks fell asleep on him for the entire regular season, and he killed us every time he played us. Like you can't leave him open.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hope Mike Brown addresses what's the name, OG and Mikal Bridges rebound, and something got to be done about that thing. Them guys got to rebound. They got to rebound, man. Got to rebound. That'll help tremendously.
It would help. It would help a lot. Historically, they're just not good rebounders.
But they don't try. I seen them watch a game where they just look at the rebound. I'm like, bro, go get the ball. It's right there. Go get it.
Yeah. Listen, if the Knicks get Beasley, it's because they promised him he'll start. I mean, he between New York, Cleveland, Minnesota, Detroit has the most money, and there's other teams with money as well that just have not been connected to him. Brooklyn, Charlotte, Chicago, Indiana, Miami, OKC.
Okay, she just gave out a whole
Sacramento,
bunch of money.
and the Wizards. So there are other teams with money, but those 4 teams have been connected. And for the Knicks to beat out Detroit, who has more money, and they're an up and coming team, they're a playoff team. And remember, he took a minimum the past 2 years. He may be looking to cash in.
I think he's going back to Detroit anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Detroit gave what's name money, right? Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert. They gave both of them money.
Yeah, but they still have money.
They can give them the most,
Yeah.
7 or 7.2 million, I believe.
You can never have too much talent on your team. That's God. You can't.
True.
Yeah.
So Tim
Well,
Hardaway
if he
ain't
came
there
to
no
the
more.
Knicks,
So.
I'm pretty sure they promised him significant playing time, maybe even a starting position, right? What would be the reason to choose the Knicks?
Right. Like you said, Queen, to start. If he comes, he's starting. So I don't have no problem with it.
That defense. No, Sherman said. Now, when I was reading up on him defensively, they said he wasn't, known for his let me see. Did I let me see. This is what I got.
I mean, at least would be.
He's not considered a good defender. He struggled with defensive inconsistencies, engagement, and getting through screens throughout his career. While he possesses athleticism, his defensive limitations, including issues with ball watching and poor execution on help defense, have made him a playoff liability at times. So not necessarily that he can't play defense, but ball watching, poor execution, inconsistent engagement, like those sorts of things. Not necessarily not having the defensive tools. Yeah.
That happens on our team already.
Well, we already got that on our team. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's terrible, even worse.
Not throwing shade, but Josh Hart, like how many times? And Josh Hart can be a good defender, but he get caught ball watching like a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
At least with Beasley in the starting lineup, you won't have a center on him. Bogging down our offense, that's part of the problem with Josh Hart in the lineup. They put a center on, and that's it. And the Knicks don't take advantage of the mismatch with Cat with a smaller player.
That's what I was about to say.
I don't get it.
That's exactly what I was about to say. A lot of blame to Hart because they're putting a center on him. But what's the adjustment? So if they putting a center on Hart, then that means there's a wing on Cat.
Right. And
So
we wasn't taking advantage of it.
So you're not taking advantage. So it's all about, them putting the wing on the center on on Hart, but not about the lack of adjustment that was made and not going to and Cat taking advantage of it.
Well, that's because he caught the ball by the 3-point line all the time instead of being down on the block catching the ball. So he's just like one dribble and he's to the basket. But if he catch a ball out by the elbow or the 3-point line, that's far, and then you got to run all the way back to the rim.
I don't think he's really a back to the basket player, though. Like I think that is much more his style and his game and the way that he was utilized last year. I'm not saying he can't do those things. He's a very good finesse player, and he can score from anywhere. But I don't know that giving him the ball. This isn't like 1994 where you could just give the ball to Ewing and with his back to the basket all game long and dominate teams. I don't know that that's playing to Towns' strength.
No,
I'm not saying he can't do it, but
I think what people are saying is like if you're gonna get a mismatch, you might as well get the ball closer to the basket instead of posting up high. That's the problem. If you got a small player, get down there and post them up down and get the ball closer to the basket. You get it high now. It's 2 different things you got to do. It's like it's too far from there. It's like you're not taking advantage of the mismatch because that smaller player is gonna stop you and stuff like that on the perimeter.
I agree.
Yeah, I do think had they spammed that a little bit, teams would have stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Knicks Never did. And I agree with you, Geoff. In no way am I saying that his entire game should go down low. But I mean, when teams decide, okay, we're going to start that's our strategy. Like, all right, we got something for you. And you just take them down, because what's going to happen is after a while, they're going to have to send a double team. They're either going to have to put the center back on Cat, or they're going to have to send a double team. And he's a decent passer. You know, sometimes he gets a little crazy
either way.
passing, but for the most part, he's a good passer, right? But we didn't make an adjustment to the adjustment. It was all about complaining about Hart instead of, okay, what's the adjustment to that? So that's what I'm saying. He may take Hart out of the lineup, or he may not, because he may have a different scheme, that makes it difficult for teams to do what they did last year. We shall see. My only why I want Hart to stay in the starting lineup for this particular team is because of the poor rebounding around Cat. So I'm like, okay, now we're going to take Hart out. OG's not a good rebounder. Neither is Bridges. Neither is, Brunson. I mean, he's a point guard. I'm like, closing out a possession is part of defense as well, right? Instead of giving up offensive rebounds. So I think taking Hart out of the lineup, you got to consider the ramifications of that. And it still doesn't mean, even if he starts, it still doesn't mean he has to play 860 minutes a game, right?
857.
Nostalgic Nick said Hart is going back to the bench. I mean, we shall see. We'll see.
We haven't had training camp yet. I mean, I know what a lot of Knick fans want to see, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that there's, in some ways, that the philosophy is all that entirely different from Thibodeau to Mike Brown.
Right.
Mike Brown's offense is handoff and stuff like that is different from that read and react, man. So a lot of handoff. If you watch the segment, it'll show a different type of handoffs and a lot of backdoor screens and cutting and Princeton offenses and stuff. They got different variations to it, but it's up to the players to execute it, to be moving, constantly moving.
Correct. I mean, listen. The first part of the season, before teams switched their wing onto Cat, our offense was on point. It was the same thing. A lot of cutting, a lot of backdoors, a lot of open shots. Beautiful. They put that center on Hart, and we didn't make the adjustment after that. Everything just shut down, basically. Right?
And Hart's a good cutter too. Like, if you're going to run that Princeton stuff, that's a lot. I mean, he's not a great three-point shooter, but he's really good at pretty much everything else with the dribble handoffs and all that other stuff that you're talking about. That plays to Hart's strengths. That's one of the reasons I said you may not see Hart removed from the starting lineup just because we have a new coach. I mean, I don't think that that's set in stone. I think it'll probably play itself out in training camp. I think he'll look at different lineups and see what he likes best, but I don't think it's absolutely guaranteed that Hart is definitely coming off the bench next year. I think that's what a lot of our fan base wants to see, with legitimate reasons. I'm not dispelling or saying that's a bad idea. I'm just saying it has that old song go, "It ain't necessarily so." I just think that it ain't necessarily so.
Yeah, he is right. Has 55 assists to Brunson last year. What does that mean? Has 57 more assists? Not more assists.
He passed the ball.
To Brunson.
To Brunson. I mean, listen. He broke the Knicks single season record for triple doubles. Right? He is a secondary ball handler. Playmaker. He keeps he cuts. If somebody rotates over, he's able to find the open guy. I mean, listen. Hart was not perfect last year, but the way the fan base is down on, he had a career year. It wasn't his fault that he was called on to play as many minutes, as he played. Once his minutes goes down, I think he's going to be even better next year when he's put, in his role. But those type of guys, I know Ajay said last week, "Oh, you can get those guys anywhere." I don't think so. I don't think those utility guys that you can kind of plug in different positions that rebound. I think he's a better defender than he showed last year. And I also think the Indiana series, yeah, he can be a better defender than he was last year. Put it, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I just thought he was in the starting lineup because of all the trades we made, and that he was just by. That's the reason, because he was going to come off the bench. Anyway, he comes off the bench because if DiVincenzo's here, he was going to come off the bench. But
Correct.
all these trades, hey, we got rid of players,
go ahead.
and we needed players, and we needed him to start. That's why. And people's like, I always look at him as like he's a bench player. People look at him as a starter, but he's a bench player. So I really don't, give too much and criticize him too much like that, because I understand we were just short.
Right. And we might be. We might be, I don't think they see Clarkson as someone to put in the, the starting lineup. We'll see.
So the thing I've said though, Queen, is like, the fans like to say every championship team needs a Josh Hart, right? You need somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, who on the Thunder was who's the Josh Hart of OKC?
They all were, but you could say Lou Dort was.
No, Lou Dort was a defender. He was a lockdown defender.
I mean, not the exact archetype, but I mean, Cason Wallace. I mean, they have several.
Yeah, like the guy who's gonna come in on any given night. If you need rebounds, you're gonna get rebounds. You need scoring, we're gonna score.
Who was that guy? I hate to say, I don't see anybody on their team as good as Josh Hart that did what Josh Hart did.
Josh Hart's such a unique player, though. I think that's difficult to say. I don't think there's any player in the league that's really like Josh Hart. But
you hear the coaches talk about Josh Hart.
Mm-hmm.
They would love to have a player like Josh Hart on their team.
Remember when he busted Sacramento's tailpipe, and then Mike Brown was like, "Yeah." He was a believer in Josh Hart that night, I guarantee.
And you know what? I said this before. I think it might have been Knick Film. Was it Knick Film School or was it Locked On Knicks? I think it was Knick Film School. They had either a content creator or a reporter or beat writer who covered Mike Brown in Sacramento. And he said, don't be surprised if Mike Brown falls in love with Josh Hart. Like he loves players. He loves players like that. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to learn, him. He started out as a defensive coach, right? Spent some time with Golden State, really, leveled up offensively. I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like for the Knicks. But you got to have the players too. I think offensively we do. What he's trying to do defensively, we'll see. We'll see. Anything else on this or any other topic? That's all I really have.
The only thing is like the starting lineup. That's it. We don't know what the starting lineup. That's the only mystery got coming left.
Queen, like chat, like hit the like button because we have on YouTube we have 74 people, maybe only 30 something likes. So get them likes up. Queen, I don't know what you're doing on Twitter X over there, but you have like a ton of viewers on Twitter.
I see that. I appreciate that.
And
I appreciate that.
Appreciate S God for coming in and rocking with us and knocking it out of the park, man. Thanks for coming
you guys,
on,
man. Thanks for having me, man.
Anytime.
Yes,
anytime you want to hop on, you can hop on.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna put my chat. I'm gonna put my link in the chat right there, so guys can go to my page and subscribe to the Man Cave podcast. I do a lot of Knicks live stream games, and like all the Knicks live stream games, do Knicks talk. During the season, it's gonna ramp up even more. So, look out for that. Right now I'm doing some Giants content soon coming up, but ready for the Knicks season though.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at that, JJ. S-Guard was great. Definitely. He's about to put his link in the chat. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Support.
Bob, good night. See you next time.
Yeah, I just put it in there, JJ. Thank you guys, man.
The Man Cave. Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna go subscribe to it right now, my friend. I didn't even know that was out there, so I'm gonna get on my phone and do that before I forget.
Caruso,
Yes,
I
sir.
love Caruso.
Caruso.
I wanted on this team. Lonzo Ball, when he got traded to Cleveland, man. Even though he's been injured, they did a good job with him last year. He could have played more, just sticking with every other game.
He's I was gonna say he's
not playing back to backs. Yeah, go ahead.
He's the closest thing to the Josh Hart of that team. The closest, but not
Caruso.
Really.
You mean
Caruso? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Caruso. Yeah. That's what Khalid Pasha.
Yeah.
I got that right. Said Caruso is the Josh Hart on Thunder. Can you imagine if we had Caruso with playing next to and behind Brunson?
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's there's a lot of things he does better than Josh Hart. And there's a lot of things obviously Josh Hart does better than him. But in recent seasons, his 3-pointers improved tremendously. Caruso. I don't look at the numbers. I just watch the games. Like, he shoot like you expect the ball to go in every time. So
yeah. Robert Torres. Was it Robert? Oh, Cardiac Knicks. I forgot.
Oh yeah, the Cardiac Knick.
This is a hot take. This one is right up there with Ajay and Yabusele. Diawara will be the starting. Will be the starting power forward.
That's a little bit.
Yeah. I don't. I like him though. I really do like Diawara. Let me ask you this: if the Knicks were going to use that 10th spot to play one of their young guys 8 to 12 minutes a game, who would you want it to be, and why? Escard.
I guess it'd be Hukporti, man. Hukporti played great last season, even though he got hurt in a limited time. But you saw he was coming on. He's not afraid of the moments. He was rebounding, shot blocking, and he got a nice little game to him, man. So I think it would be him.
Okay. Ajay.
It would probably be Hukporti too, because we've seen what he could do at the NBA level. Yeah, like if probably with more time he'll be more developed and a little bit more more productive, the word I'm looking for. So yeah, it would probably be Hukporti.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me, because I see this player as somebody that, if they play well, it's great. If they don't, it's fine. Like, you're not depending on, you're not really depending on them. You're just trying to give them like consistent minutes to kind of develop them over the next year or two. Hukporti is fine.
Diawara.
I would pick Diawara, but he's a first year player. He's probably going to spend most of that time in the, in the G League. You would think that Daddy A would be ahead of him, right? Who else? What did they decide to do with McCullough? Do we know?
Yeah, I don't think they got to sign him. I don't think that he's signing. It's something.
Okay, so we're not. What are
McCullough's
the
got nice.
Say that again.
McCullough's was nice. I mean, even in the preseason, even when he played in the season last year, he plays a lot of energy.
Yeah.
McCullough Jr. and Kolick. That's the other one. Is Kolick.
What did they do with the Marjan Beauchamp? They didn't resign him, right? They didn't.
I don't think so.
He was on a summer league team though, but I don't know. I don't think they signed him.
Yeah. Parrish Duggan says Hukporti and Deuce have a bad knee going forward. I mean, they might have had a bad. They might have had a bad knee last season, but they're gonna have a bad knee going forward. Paris, you read something?
Man, shout out to Paris, man.
Paris, maybe you could play. Hopefully, they got a clean bill of health, man. We need them to have a clean bill of health.
I did not see the Hart for Eason. I'm a big Hart fan, but I love Eason too. I love Eason. But no, I did not hear.
And Eason go in that trade? Did he go in the trade? The Rockets? He's talking about the Rockets, right? I thought he went in that Durant trade or something like that. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think.
I know it was Jalen Green and somebody else.
Jalen Green.
Oh, Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks.
Right, Dylan Brooks. All right. Any last words? Shout out to the. Let me just shout the chat out. JJ Parrish Duggar, Coach, appreciate you. Khalid, appreciate you. Nostalgic Nick, size 9, always rocking with us. Sherman was in the house earlier. Appreciate you.
Bob,
appreciate you.
Wiz.
Checking just to let us. You trying to intimidate us, Wiz? Just to let us know you always listening. Popped in. Jason Benjamin, appreciate you, and the super chat. This is a classic Sherwin post. McCullough Jr. can play the point at 6 feet, 6.5 inches in sneakers. This is classic Sherwin. Classic. Oh my God. HRM, appreciate you. As well. And what was that? Yeah, so we talked about Bob. All right. Any last words before we get out of here?
Yeah, last words, man. Queen, IJ, Geoff, man, it was an honor, it was a pleasure, man, being on here with you guys, man. I will be back on here again some other time and stuff like that. As always,
you
man.
better.
I will, man. It's a nice little home right here, especially during the season and stuff like that, man. So, hey, it was a pleasure, man. I felt great being on here, and I'll come back on here again, talk to you guys, and talk to you guys in the chat, man. Salute to the chat, man. You guys was great.
Yeah, right. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having you, man.
Appreciate your points. Appreciate you spending time. Time is of a premium, right? So anytime anybody wants to come and get on the panel, I feel honored myself. Geoff, any last words? Anything coming up?
First of all, I'm subscribed now, S-God, so I'm looking forward to that content. And I encourage everyone, let's support this community. We have a great community, NBK. Let's support all the shows and all the people, because they put in a lot of hard work and they do some great things to help us understand this team better. And there's none better than Queen. And we appreciate you. Look, we had 262 people watching tonight, dead of the summer, y'all, for That's almost awesome. 2 hours. Bless y'all. It's such a, it's such a cool thing to get away and things going on, real life things right now. So it's really a pleasure to get to enjoy this team and this conversation when we don't really have much to talk about. It's pretty incredible.
What do you mean? What do you mean we have much to talk about, man? We always have to talk about with the Knicks. Always.
But I'm just saying there's no games going on. There's not trades or anything. We're just like, these are the filler episodes till we get to
I got my Brunson shirt on. See,
we have stuff to talk about.
There you go.
We got to get that. She's scraping the bones to get that meat in the pot right now.
We are here talking for 100 minutes. Geoff talking about filler, man. This is full content right here, man.
Not saying it's not, Ajay. You misunderstand me, brother.
Yeah,
always a pleasure, my guy. Though Ajay does so much for the show, man. Y'all, we appreciate him so much.
It's a pleasure, man. It's
therapy. You back. You missed a couple. You missed it. Was it last episode?
I missed Freezy's show, man.
So we definitely missed you, man, and it's good to have you back.
Yeah, and Lee was on too from Nick of Time. So yeah.
We had Lee and Freezy. It was really cool.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, the next 2 weeks I'm going to be on vacation, so Ajay is going to be. I don't know, Ajay. We got to talk. I know you got a lot going on.
Yeah, no. We'll talk about it.
Okay, but for now, Ajay Hollywood, the villain, will be hosting the show the next 2.
The villain.
The next 2 weeks. Just so you know, Ajay, when you the host, you can't just slide in at 9:15, right? When you the host,
I will be on time.
you gotta.
But then we'll know he can be on time, and then we'll know that it's
Right.
just because he wants to make
It's really Hollywood.
Which is what I've been saying for a year now. He got to have that. He wants the trumpets and the fanfare, Escott. He can't just come in and be on the show like the rest of us. He's got to give him his red carpet rollout.
Yeah, drop in like Batman.
For sure. Escott, I appreciate you, dropping by. You're welcome anytime. Appreciate your takes, appreciate your, demeanor. You just fit right in, with the show and what we do. So I appreciate that. Jeff, you already know. Jeff came from the chat, just calling into the show, and now he's on every week, leveling up the podcast. I appreciate you. Ajay, I appreciate you. Always willing to go on, always willing to have a show, wanting to go on when I'm like, what are we going on for? We did you hear that bit of news? I think we should do a show. Yeah. But I appreciate you and filling in while I'm going to be out. And then of course Jerrell, who has his the NFL, his NFL fantasy draft tonight. So hopefully he drafted a pretty
I
good.
bet he's really good at fantasy. I just have a feeling as much as he loves it, I do not want to be in his league. I guarantee you that. He seems like he'd be a really sharp player. Yeah.
So there'll be another season of Die Hard Giants podcast, I believe Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. So I'm looking forward to that. And Jeff and I, we'll be doing post-game shows, lunchtime post-game shows next season. Ajay will pop in when he can, particularly if they fall on the weekend, probably be better for him. Yeah. Anybody else who want to drop in, you definitely can. The weekends will probably be better. On that lunch break, I got 45 minutes to get in and out. And I just want to do a last shout out because I forgot Kareem Grant, Building Blocks, and JM. Is that 3,000?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 3,000. Because the little O's are like 3,000.
3000, but
3000. All right.
JM3. Ooh.
All right. I appreciate the chat, of course. Appreciate those on X, YouTube, the silent listeners, the replay gang. I appreciate you as well. Until next time, family.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.